If you want your income to go down as you get better at your job, medicine is a great career choice because that's exactly what happens to surgeons. Hi, I'm Tyler Goldberg. I'm the founder of NAOCA. In 2023, I flipped the script on how I practice medicine. I didn't opt out of insurance, but I did build a completely different model around it. A model where surgeons actually have control again. And now I help other surgeons do the same. Today, I want to tell you something that might sound strange coming from a surgeon. If you're choosing a career, don't go into medicine. I'll explain why. There's a concept in economics called the Pareto principle. You've probably heard it called the 80-20 rule. It shows up everywhere. 20% of customers generate 80% of revenue. 20% of workers produce 80% of the output. 20% of investments generate 80% of the returns. It's one of those patterns that seems to appear across almost every system humans build. And the most important implication of this is, over time, value concentrates. The longer you stay in a field, the more experience you have. Seems logical, right? The more skill you accumulate, the more valuable you become. Again, the longer you're in a field, the more valuable you become. What this means in practical terms is simple. The biggest rewards in a career usually happen later, after 20 years, after 30 years, after the mastery has happened. The system rewards experience, except for one field. Healthcare is the only one of the industries where the Pareto principle runs backwards. The longer you practice, the less you get paid. That sounds ridiculous, right? But it's true. Let me give you a real example. I was playing golf recently with a friend of mine. He's an attorney, same age as me, similar stage in our careers. We started talking about work and he tells me something interesting. Every year since he started practicing law, he raises his hourly rate. Every year, zero negotiation, no insurance company approval, no governmental committee, just a letter to clients. My rate is increasing, and his clients pay it. Today, his hourly rate is just under $3,000 an hour. And he said something that stuck with me that day. He said, "The longer I practice, the more valuable my judgment becomes." And he's right. That's exactly how markets are supposed to work. Now, let's compare that to surgery. Let me tell you the other side of that story. I started doing knee replacements in 2004. At that time, reimbursement for a total knee replacement was around $2,500. Not perfect, but reasonable. Fast forward to today, that same surgery, that same complexity, actually more complex patients, now pays $913. Think about that. 20 years of experience, thousands of surgeries, better implants, better techniques, better outcomes, and the system says you're worth less than half what you were worth when you started. This is the opposite of how healthy systems work. In most professions, experience equals higher value equals higher income. In medicine, experience equals higher skill equals lower reimbursement. The better you get, the less the system pays you. And it's not because patients value surgeons less, it's because third parties control the price. Insurance companies, government programs, administrative pricing committees. They decide what your work is actually worth, not the market. They're in the business to keep their entity profitable, not you. So let's talk about the real problem, real career problem. Here's the real tragedy of this system. The best years of a professional career should be the last ones, when you have the most experience, the best judgment, the highest skill level. Those should be the most valuable years of your life. But in medicine, that's when you're being paid the least. Which is why so many surgeons today feel stuck. They did everything right, training, residency, 20 years in practice, and yet the economics of the system keep getting worse. So when I say don't go into medicine, I'm only half joking. Because if you enter the traditional system, You're entering a system where the economic rules are backwards. But there is another option. You can practice medicine without playing by those rules. You can build a model where the surgeon controls the structure, the incentives make sense, and the economics finally work again. That's what I did, and that's what we talk about here at NAOCA. If you're a surgeon who knows the system isn't working, you're not crazy. You just need a different model, and that's what we talk about here at NAOCA.